everybody. My name's Zach with FINIS. I'm a sales rep here. I'm joined by John Nix, the CEO of FINIS. And today we're going to quickly talk about the Stability Snorkel Junior, which is designed especially for young swimmers. And so we're going to jump right into it. So FINIS was a pioneer of swim snorkels for competitive swimmers over the past 30 years. What inspired you to create a version specifically for kids with this Stability Snorkel Junior?
It started in the very beginning of COVID. There was a lot of online communication of coaches getting together, and those coaches, it was very consistent. How do I teach this skill to the younger swimmers? How do I teach this skill to the younger swimmers? And in every conversation, one of the coaches would say, put them in a snorkel. And the next one, put them in a snorkel. And someone else would say, well, how young can you put them in a snorkel? And someone would say, we got our 12-year-olds in it. And someone else would say, I want to teach this to 8-year-olds. How do I do it? And I knew that the existing snorkels wouldn't be safe for the younger swimmers. So hearing it enough times, I spoke with product development and said, I think we need to develop a snorkel for the younger swimmers.
That's amazing. Now, how does using a snorkel, especially at a young age, help swimmers improve?
Well, the reason why the rest of the world is swimming with a snorkel is of every single ability, right? Like you've got from the Olympians going to Paris to the adults who are learning to swim and all sorts of novice. When you can take away that complicated breathing motion from their swimming, I can now relax in the water. I can think about getting my hips higher on the surface. I can actually practice swimming slowly with perfect technique. These are things that you can't do without wearing a snorkel, because otherwise, when you go to take that breath, without some type of forward progression, your hips start to sink and you're changing your body position. So it's paramount in elite level swimming. And the sooner we bring it down for younger kids to start learning about that good body line and working on their technique, the quicker we're going to develop more talented swimmers.
Interesting. Yeah, that's fascinating. Now, how does the design choices with this particular Stability Snorkel Junior differ from the Stability Snorkel Senior?
Sure.
The one for adult swimmers.
Well, I mentioned the safety aspect. With the existing snorkels, the length of the tube and the inner circumference of that tube, the length is too long, the circumference is too big. And a child's lungs under the age of 10, the lungs aren't developed. And it's not that they couldn't do the work, but they're breathing shallower and faster. And if you've got a long tube with a lot of air coming in, if you're not getting all the dead air out of the tube, you could create a dangerous situation. So when I heard they're putting younger kids in the regular snorkel, even our junior snorkel, I knew that was a problem. And it led to some pretty interesting things in the development. The first thought process was the shorter tube with a bigger opening, but with the bigger opening, actually more oxygen was just flooding into the child's lungs. And we watched kids use these early prototypes and they were almost gasping because there was so much air coming in. And if there's that much air coming in, then there's the possibility of leaving dead air in the tube was really prevalent. And so shorter tube, skinnier diameter creates a safe environment for the kids. And now when the kids put it on, the beautiful thing is these kids have been watching the older kids use it for, from day one. They see it. And you bring these out to the younger kids and say, okay, we got one for you. The kids are excited. They're like, wow, we get to snorkel. And if they do breathe in through their nose, they choke on it, they figure it out pretty quickly because they want to fit in. So that it's the adaptability is much, much quicker.
Yeah, great. Can you talk about some of the benefits or maybe share a story of how you've seen some benefits in action with the kids?
I can identify a couple of programs we used early. First off, I'll say when you first get the kids to wear the snorkel, these are younger kids, call it 6, 7, 8-year-olds. It's okay to have them stand in the shallow end. It's okay to say, look, now just breathe in and out through your mouth. Then while they're standing, say, put your face in the water and breathe in and out with your mouth, because it's a lot more comfortable for them to put their face in the water, maybe breathe through the nose and have that first bad experience before they bother. The next transition would be push off and just do a simple glide with your arms at your side. So that's kind of how to use it. How do we introduce the product? Another one that I've heard quite often is some of the more progressive coaches are going to say, with my younger kids, we only teach flutter kick on our back.
Yeah.
Because by putting them on their back, they're not overbending the knees, and this is controlled motion. And when they roll them over to kick on their stomach, if you put them on a kickboard, again, you've lost all that body line. So the great comment is, we've started using your little kid's snorkel, and we've gotten rid of the kickboards for the little kids. Because now it's still a fun activity. It's just not a chatterbox activity. It's put on the snorkels, get good body line, and we're doing kicking. And you're watching these 6, 7, 8-year-olds kick down the pool. They've got good body line. I've seen coaches already start talking to the swimmers about pointing a shoulder down at the bottom and then pointing the shoulder down at the bottom. So we're learning body roll. We can introduce very slow swimming technique and tell them, look, at the top of the stroke, I want you to pause, and then I want you to catch and feel the water. So it's pretty remarkable. I think with this product, you can now have conversations with 6, 7, 8-year-olds that you probably weren't having with kids until they were 11 or 12.
Right. Yeah. So it's really something that's building confidence with young swimmers, you would say?
Yeah. Big confidence boost.
Great. Well, to finish off, how do you see products like the Stability Snorkel Junior shaping the future of youth swimming or swimming in general?
Well, I think that the Snorkel as a single product would be the most profound product that we put on the market. Now maybe actually the monofin, and the reason why, and we'll have to do a whole separate conversation, different about the monofin is before we introduced the monofin, everyone would do flutter kick on their starts and turns. And today we all do dolphin kick. So some of the great monofin users, Misty Hyman, Natalie Coughlin, the list goes on and on. They develop beautiful underwater technique with a monofin. And now we all replicate that effort, and you can learn it with a monofin. But the Snorkel is the one product that everybody can use at any level of development, because although we're really in this phase of race-paced training, there's also something to be said about swim slow with perfect technique. We can teach a person to load their hips to swing a tennis racket, or to drive a golf ball. And when you start talking about that swimming also involves the proper timing of hip rotation, the one thing that will make you swim faster and swim longer for the rest of your life is improving technique. And if we can start embracing technique with the younger swimmers, there's no doubt if they're faster because they started here and they're faster at 8, they're going to be faster when they're 15, because those kids right now that are the fastest in the world, they all were introduced to the Snorkel at probably age 13 or 14. And now we can go much, much younger. So it's going to be great.
Yeah, that's fascinating. Thank you so much for giving us a look at how FINIS continues to innovate for swimmers of all ages. And thanks to tuning into this. You can find the Stability Snorkel Junior and other incredible FINIS products on finisswim.com. Go check it out.